What's good, my people? You know who it is, you know what it is. Let's get into this. So, I just finished watching the Math Hoffa episode with Hassan Campbell. Long as fuck, 3 hours. They touched on some topics, whatever. But I'm here to talk about the one issue that I took offense to, and it was when they started talking about Brother Polite. And basically his situation about, him being accused allegedly of molesting a 12-year-old girl, where they say that they found DNA evidence on her person, her body, her clothing, her body, his DNA evidence. And, Hassan Campbell, obviously being somebody that has been through being molested as a child, was sympathetic and whatever. They got into a heated debate, and Math Hoffa was very, very reluctant to he was reluctant to side with the little girl or whatever. And that's fine, because there's due process and everybody should have their day in court. But the way that he did it, he was so adamant in pretty much calling the little girl a liar. He didn't want to believe or hear anything. Or his answer was, it happens far too often that people get accused and they turns out that it's not the truth. And I agree, it happens a lot. But people like him are the problem of why a lot of women that do get molested, that do get raped, don't even come out and say anything, because their first thing is, nobody's gonna believe me. And we're not talking about a 30-year-old woman that's spiteful because Brother Polite was fucking her and then he went on to the next girl because he didn't want nothing to do with her no more. No, we're talking about a 12-year-old girl that apparently he was dealing with her mother. He was in a relationship with her mother, and something happened one night where he is being accused of molesting her, allegedly. And listen, you can deny a lot of things. He say, she say shit. I always believe in half of what you see and none of what you hear. That's one of the things that I believe in wholeheartedly, because a motherfucker can make shit look good. If you're from New York City, go to any hood right now, and you will see dudes with $4,000 and $5,000 outfits on that don't got $10 in their fucking pocket. So people make things look good. You can see it and it look good, but it's not always what it appears. And when people talk shit, and they talk because they got lips, a lot of shit that you hear is bullshit. So I agree with it. But there is one irrefutable piece of evidence that has convicted and gotten hundreds of people released and thousands of people convicted, and that is DNA. If you are fighting a murder and they find your DNA on that crime scene, you're going to jail. That shit is irrefutable. You and only you have that DNA strand, nobody else. Now, your kids and all that shit will have matching, but they will have their own. It won't be completely identical to yours. DNA evidence is irrefutable evidence. And my greater point is, people like him and the way that he reacted and the way that he just basically was like, he don't want to hear nothing. That's the shit that kills me, because Math Hoffa is one of the biggest. People like him are hypocrites. Because when it comes to other shit, the court system don't matter. When it comes, how the courts are. They fucking set people up all the time. You don't really know what happened. The courts is crooked. But when it comes in this case, when it comes to a little girl that's saying that got abused, that's allegedly got molested, you trust the courts completely to make the right judgment with that, right? But when it comes to your peoples that go to jail, they set them up, this and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's people like him that the courts are pieces of shit when it's when it doesn't suit you. That's why people are hypocrites, because I'm sure that Math Hoffa is smart enough to know that the court system is flawed. And there's a lot of people walking the streets that shouldn't be walking the streets. And there's a lot of people that are in jail that shouldn't be in jail. But by the written law, the written rules, and the way the law is written and the language that the law uses, people are guilty for certain things that they shouldn't be guilty of, and they're innocent for certain things that they shouldn't be innocent for. We need to stop being fucking hypocritical when it comes to these issues. Rape, molestation is serious, whether it's a boy or a girl or whatever. It doesn't matter, man. Like, I'm saying that, listen, like I said, this is a 12-year-old girl. And yes, the mother could have been spiteful, whatever. There's a whole bunch of things that could have happened. But the bottom line is, as far as they're saying, they have DNA evidence of his DNA. And I'm not talking about his saliva or his fingerprint. I'm talking about semen. And it was on that little girl. So, listen, that right there is damning evidence to me, at least. To me, that's damning evidence. And for him to say, oh, I don't believe it until I see this, until I see that, until I see... Listen, I understand that he had went through a personal issue, I guess, of a woman accusing him of something foul that he wound up, it wasn't true. But understand that woman right there is an outlier. Yes, there's a lot of women that do that, but there's even more women that really do go through these situations. I personally have dealt with women in my life that I have had relationships with. Two of them to keep it official with you. Two of them that were molested by close family members, by stepfathers, by family members. So it's not like, and I didn't look at them and say, oh, I don't believe you and all that shit. You know what I mean? Because that's something serious. That's something serious, man. We need to, like, we always quick to preach that we need to protect the women and all that shit, but then you got a dude like this dude that is quick to say not to believe them, and they should get the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise. I'm not saying that if a woman is known for this, if this is the third or fourth time and she's just accusing men and it's been proven time after time to be false, then I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if this girl has never given you any reason to think that she's a liar, to think that she's a person that's evil enough to fucking put a bad bone on a person like that, because that's an awful thing. It's awful in your career life. It's awful to be on your record. And it's awful if you go to jail, because they don't take it easy on rapists and pedophiles in jail. They don't. You in for a whatever, jail is hard enough as it is, but if you going in there as a rapist or a pedophile, it's going to be a really long bid. So look, man, I'm just here to say, I like the show. I like the episode. They touched on a lot of topics and all this shit, and it was cool. But when it got to that part, it was just like, he was just too standoffish for me. And it was like, bro, this a little girl. And he looking for it's like, that's why these rapists get away with it. That's why these dudes feel that they don't stop at one victim, because they don't get caught at one victim, because it's dudes like you that want to cast doubt. Instead of, the old man in that episode was real. Listen, we shouldn't be dependent on the courts and all this shit to bring justice to these matters. That little girl deserves justice, whether it be, stop waiting on everybody to fucking fix things for us. Real shit. If you're a piece of shit pedophile, we don't want you in our neighborhood. We don't want you to pack him the fuck up and get him up out of there. Straight like that. Forcefully. That's one thing about other countries. If you do this shit, if you rape somebody, go to one of these little hick-ass places and these little hick-ass towns in fucking Trinidad and Haiti and motherfucking Colombia and all that, where they in the campo, where they don't even have police out there. They police themselves. You get caught raping a little girl, or you get caught, or you get accused of some shit like that out there, they ain't calling the cops. You're calling the cops to get away from them. You are gonna be wanting the cops to come to save you from what they're about to do to you. That's the way shit should be, man. Because putting these pedophiles wind up getting less time than dudes selling drugs. They giving dudes that selling drugs 4, 5, 6 years, and they giving pedophiles fucking 2 years in probation. This shit is ass backwards. Anyway, man, this video went long, but it's because this is some bullshit, and I just felt some type of way about it. So, it is what it is, yo. My people, be good out there. Stay blessed. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.